Welcome to the Where Do Gays Retire podcast, where we help you in the LGBTQ plus community find a safe and affordable retirement place. Join Mark Goldstein as he interviews others who live in gay-friendly places around the globe. Learn about the climate, cost of living, healthcare, crime and safety, and more. Now, here's your host, Mark Goldstein.
So today we're going to take a deep dive into central New York, Syracuse, New York, with our special guest, Scott Hier, and we'll tell you a little bit about Scott. Today I'm thrilled to welcome Scott to our show. He was born and raised in Syracuse, New York. Scott lives in Camillus, a charming suburb just outside of the city. Now you can correct me if I'm wrong.
It was Camillus.
Camillus, okay.
Camillus. That's okay.
Sounds like Camilla. But he comes with a rich background in workers' compensation, where he honed his negotiation skills over a commendable 23-year career at an insurance company, specializing in high-dollar claims for a decade. During the challenging times of COVID-19 in 2020, Scott pivoted towards a new passion, real estate. After completing his licensing in September 21, he transitioned from his corporate role in early 2022 to focus full-time on helping individuals and families find their perfect homes. His previous experience has proven invaluable, especially in helping buyers navigate the complexities of real estate transactions. Scott's journey into real estate began over 16 years ago when he first recognized his passion for the field. Although initially held back by financial constraints, his love for home renovations and genuine satisfaction in assisting others to achieve their dream of home ownership kept his interest alive. Today, he's not just selling homes, but he's helping to familiarize newcomers with the myriad opportunities that central New York offers, ensuring they understand the buying and selling process thoroughly. Scott, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us and sharing your insights and experiences in Syracuse's vibrant real estate market. I'm tongue-tied.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And otherwise, yes, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming. So tell us, Syracuse, I think, has a population of around, since 2021, it had around 150,000. Would you say that's correct?
Yep.
Okay. Let's talk about the climate and geography a little bit, Scott.
Sure.
Can you describe Syracuse's typical climate and weather patterns throughout the year? How does the city handle the heavy snowfall in the winter? I know you get quite a bit of snow.
That we do. So, yeah, Syracuse is known as one of the snowiest cities in the U.S. Past couple of years, though, our winters have been pretty mild, shockingly. Last year, I didn't have to pull out the snowblower, so it was great.
Wow.
Yeah, we had like one big storm, and that was about it. We're so prepared for that because being here all my life, I've seen bigger snowstorms, and obviously not so much in other years. All the suburbs, they're great. The city's even great. The city, when the plows they do have, when it gets like really excessive snow, they will bring in like dump trucks to put them in to haul it out off the city because there's city streets. It's just too hard. There's a main road that goes right up to the hospital, so they try to make sure that's always clear. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, we have our traditional 4 seasons. The summers can get into maybe like the 90s, low to mid 90s, which I've noticed obviously since being a kid. It was certainly gotten warmer. But, we definitely got our traditional 4 seasons. And like I said, winter's just been great. Rochester and Buffalo have been getting a little bit more of the snow lately than we have the past couple of years, which I wasn't hating. But
you get lake effect, right?
Yeah, we get the lake effect usually from Lake Ontario. Yep. Yeah. So we get a lot of that. But the past couple of years, we've lucked out. We really have. So, which is great. So
that's climate change for you.
Yeah. I'm waiting for one of the years to actually hit. So for you guys, climate change is not awful because now
you just get less snow and more warm weather.
Yeah, we still do get the snow, don't get me wrong, but it's nowhere near, like it has been. And there's been years where we've certainly had 80, 90, 100 inches in a year, in a season. And then there's others we've been down, 20, 30 inches. It's just so arbitrary as to how it is. So yeah, but we still do get snow. There's still obviously plenty of time to do your winter activities here. It's just not debilitating.
That's good.
Which is nice, yeah.
Yeah. So How is Syracuse prepared for climate change? Do you know at all?
Well, I do know for a lot of things here, they are getting a lot to solar energy now, is what they're doing. So we have a couple solar farms actually going in. One just passed in Manlius, which is a suburb of Syracuse. They're doing a big solar farm there. There's one down in Tully, which is about maybe 30 to 45-minute drive out of Syracuse. They're putting one in there. And what it's doing, it's allowed to do like a shared solar. So you can, on your electric bill, you can request that, and they guarantee you at a minimum of a 10% savings on it. So your energy is pulling from solar rather than from the grid itself.
Right.
So they're trying to help with that. Other than that, there's not a whole lot going on. They do have a couple windmill locations that they're doing, trying to get energy from there as well.
Do you ever get flooding?
So every now and again, but it's not. So where we get a lot more flooding is a lot of times when it's extreme thaws in the spring. So like if we have a lot of snow for some reason, then all of a sudden it gets really warm, then we can get it there. We have had a couple, this past year, we had a couple big heavy rainstorms.
Mm-hmm.
So in some places there, because it had not rained for about a week, 2 weeks, so the ground just couldn't absorb it as quickly as it came down. So we had a little bit of flooding then, but here you wouldn't need like flood insurance unless you're in a specific designated floodplain or anything like that.
Right. Good to know. Good to know. Okay. Let's talk a little about the cost of living. So the housing market, rental market, your expertise, utilities, cost of living, healthcare, and all that good stuff. Let's start off with the housing market.
Sure. So our housing market, so Syracuse has always been, and actually still is, a very, a lower cost place to live just overall. Our housing, unfortunately, like our houses have gone up in price exponentially over the past 2-3 years. Even when I started real estate, we're seeing it. But the problem is that Syracuse is just catching up with the rest of the nation is the problem. Mm-hmm. So our houses here, like average house costs made about 150, 175. Now it's more like, so now it's more like 250, so those are going up, and they've gone up fairly quickly. So it's almost went from 0 to 60 in 2 years rather than over like a 5 or 10 year period. So it's a little bit of sticker shock to people, but still for what you're getting up here, there's a lot more bang for your buck. We do have a lot of out-of-state buyers coming in, a lot of investors coming in.
What would you say the median home price is in Syracuse as compared to the U.S. average? It's lower, right?
Yeah, I would say here you can, depending on, again, where you want to live, of course, whether you're in the suburbs, city, whatever type of house. But I'd say probably like around 150, 160,000. I've had buyers that have lower, thresholds, and we always find them a home. It may not be exactly where they want to be. It might have to be in the suburb, might have to be a different part of the suburb possibly. But houses are very reasonably priced, in my opinion, compared to what I see in other cities. Absolutely. And I think that's why we're seeing a big drive in house sales going up as quickly as they are. Past couple of years, houses are going sometimes 40, 50, 60,000 over asking.
Wow.
So
because it's so low and reasonable, really, compared to everywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, because of that, so the rental prices have gone up a little bit, because now the people that maybe can't find a house now are trying to find a rental, so now the landlords are kind of taking advantage of that a little bit. And again, I don't think the rentals are out of the norm. It's just for us, it's a little bit different because we're not used to seeing it.
What's the average, you think, of a 2-bedroom,
I would
2-bath?
Say, here for how much did you say, Mark?
2-bedroom, 2-bath rental?
Maybe 1,400, 1,500. Yep. I know.
Pretty cheap compared to
exactly. Newer places go for maybe like 2,000, maybe 2,200. So they are building a lot more developments for rentals than homes, because obviously you can get a lot more out of them because you can fit more in them. So utilities here, same thing. We have obviously natural gas and electric for the most part. There's different parts of the area, like Solve, New York has their own grid. So there you're all on what's called Solve Electric. So there your bill could be maybe $25, $30 a month for electric, for everything. Yeah. So that's a sought after area to live in.
And that's for, what do you have your heat? Is it electric heat or gas?
So there you would have like baseboard heat. Correct. Yep. In Solve, traditionally, like me, myself, other people, they have either boilers or forced air, which runs off natural gas traditionally. So on average,
what's your electric bill in the winter?
So for me, I like it a little cooler in my home. So I would say probably maybe like 180
for your electric in the
For
winter?
for electric and gas, that's both.
Electric and gas. Okay.
Yeah. So if you like your home to be a little bit warmer, or if you have a larger home, you still might see your bill maybe 250, sometimes 3. Depends on what you like. I just prefer cooler personally, so
Yeah.
that's how I am.
Yeah. That's pretty average. I guess
Yeah.
it sounds high for Syracuse, maybe, but it's in comparison here. I mean, we can't shut our air conditioning off all summer long. So our bills are in the 200s.
And that is the nice part. So that's why I love the 4 seasons here. So when you're going from spring to summer, you don't have to have, I mean, my bill's sometimes been as low as $90 because
That's
you have
great.
nothing on.
Yeah.
And then also now when you're going from summer to fall,
It's
again, same
nice
thing.
too.
Yeah, my bill's like 100, 110 because it's just electric and just the gas for the hot water heater. So because you can leave the windows open at night, you don't have to have the AC on if you don't want to.
That's nice.
So you do get a little bit of break here and there, but sometimes our winters are cold, even though we don't have snow. They're cold, and again, just depends on how much you want to bundle up in the house rather than turn the heat
let's
up.
talk about temperature. So in the winters, your winters, you can get easily below 0.
Correct. Yeah, we do get below 0 at times. That's like in the dead of winter. At night, obviously, clearly. I'd say like if we're looking at like a low during the day, you could get into like the single digits possibly with wind chill. Maybe into the teens. That'll happen. Traditionally, we're maybe in the 20s, 30s. It's cold enough, but and when it gets
a little nippy.
yes, especially with the wind chill. So yeah, when you throw the wind chill in there, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's cold.
it is cold.
Then it's
That's
time. At that time of year, you can come to Phoenix.
Exactly. That's when you go to that's when you go on vacations, you take your
Right.
cruises, and you go down south for a little bit.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Phoenix that time of year is beautiful too. So in the winter. So
Yep. And like I said, this past winter, geez, we were sometimes 30s, 40s, 50s. I mean, it was just unheard of. It's like, this is kind of crazy. It's Christmas and it's 45 degrees out.
yeah,
So
it's
yeah.
like the past 2 years have been unusually warm everywhere. Wherever even in Europe, everywhere has been warmer than normal. How about healthcare costs? Do you think healthcare costs is anything above the average, below the average?
Probably not. No, I'm going to say no. We have some great hospitals here that specialize. So we have Upstate, we have St. Joe's, and we have Crouse. Those are our big hospitals that we have here, and they all kind of specialize in certain things. St. Joe's is big for stroke care. St. Joe's and Crouse both actually do stroke care, I should say. And St. Joe's is one of the top 15 in the country nationwide for that, for heart surgery. And then Upstate has a cancer center and for a lot of clinical trials. And then part of Upstate, they also would Golisano Children's Hospital as well. So a lot of people come from around for that.
From
So
all over
yeah,
Central New York.
and exactly, and costs in general. I mean, yeah, they are what they are.
Pretty.
Yeah, I mean,
they're high
crazy.
everywhere.
Yeah,
but I would assume that Syracuse market is more affordable than others. So
I think so personally, but of course I've always been here too, so I've never been somewhere else to see. But when I talk to friends and stuff, yeah, I mean, yeah.
You get people that live in the North Country, like ours, like near Watertown, an hour north from you, that if there was something major going on, they may not have the local hospitals up there, so they come down to Syracuse.
Yep.
To get their treatment.
Yeah,
So.
and that's why it's so great being so close to everything, because all the hospitals are like within a cluster, so they're all within like a handful of blocks of each other too, which is great. So like Golisano Children's Hospital is near Upstate, which is then like adjacent to Crouse, and St. Joe's is just down the road. So yeah, so if you're like at one and need to be transported to another one, let's say if you're having an issue or you need the specialty, it's easy to get you right there because you're a 5-minute drive, via ambulance or car, whatever, down the road.
Right.
So yeah, which is nice.
Okay. Now, is Syracuse set up where you could walk? Is it walkable?
The city is, yes. The city is walkable. Over the handful of years now, they've revamped all the roads for bike lanes too.
Okay.
So throughout the city, we now have bike lanes that are specific. I have a couple friends that live in the city. They have condos down there. They love the walkability. There's shops. There's obviously, we'll get into later, there's a ton of restaurants. So yeah, there's a lot of things that's walkable. It would be hard to not probably have a car, I'm going to say, but we do have public transportation though as well. So, I mean,
what do you have? Buses?
We have buses, correct. Yep, we have buses. We have a central bus here, which you can do like day passes, week passes, things like that. That goes everywhere. It goes through Onondaga County, like Cayuga County, goes up to Oswego, goes all the suburbs. So it really can take you wherever you need to go.
You don't have trains?
So we have an Amtrak here. Yep. So we have Amtrak. We have a hub there. So we have a Greyhound bus station in with Amtrak, which is right outside the city. So you can easily take an Amtrak down to New York for the day, and it's like $60, and it's a 5-hour trip, and which we did this past year for our cruise. So yeah, so we did that, which is nice. So
instead of driving and
have to worry about, so you get off your cruise and you just
go.
Take your Amtrak right home and then Uber home. So clearly, obviously, we do have Uber, Lyft, things like that as well. All the shared services we have here as well. We have a lot of like bike trails, a lot of running trails, things like that too. Not necessarily for transportation, clearly, but they did do this whole huge Onondaga Creek walk, which takes you like all the way through the city. It's like 5 miles. So they did all that through, which is nice. So there's a lot of people that from the city that utilize that. So it's like a safe area to be able to walk bikes so you're not in the roads or anything like that.
You wouldn't bike in the city in the winter, right?
You would be surprised. People do.
People do?
People do. Yeah, because that's their mode of transportation. So some people do. I personally wouldn't.
I'd be like sliding all over the place with ice because I'm sure you have black ice.
Yep. When I was in the insurance company, one of our offices used to be downtown, and we would see it. And to get back to, clearing of the snow, they are really good at it because we've had it for so long. They have it down to a science. So within a matter of hours, you do have mainly just like wet pavement because they plow and then salt. So, I mean, you can have slush and things like that, but people do still bike through it, though, believe it or not.
Yeah, I could imagine. I've been upstate New York during snowstorms, like Thanksgiving time, visiting family, and it's like, are we going to ever get out of here? And the plows come through, and they're amazing. I mean, they're like, we were in Oswego one year, I remember, and I was like, oh my God, are we going to ever get out of here? And the plows just come and just plow it all over the place.
Yep, and that's the funny part. Like I've had friends over and they're like, "Oh, Jason, am I going to get home today?" I go, "Give it a half hour, you'll be fine." And plows come through, they clear, they salt, and we're prepared for it. My brother used to live in Boston, and up there, they're not used to as much snow when they get it. So there it's a little bit more debilitating. But for us here, we're so used to it. I mean, it's funny. We go to work and there's a foot of snow on the ground.
You don't.
I throw it in
realize.
4-wheel drive and we're on our way. We're so used to it. We're like, oh, you got 7 inches of snow. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
I'd be white knuckle.
I
wouldn't even drive.
It's summer. Yeah, there's many a times it just doesn't. If you live here long enough, it just doesn't faze you because you're just so used to it. So yeah.
How are the potholes in the infrastructure?
So they have been working on those as well. So that's always a big complaint of everyone because we get so many because we warm, cold, warm, cold, warm, cold.
Is it like constant? It must be constant.
It's constant.
The road is constantly under construction.
It pretty much is, yeah. But I will say, I mean, they do their best because there are so many come spring. But yeah, it certainly is. So there's like actual number you can call the city and be like, hey, there's a pothole on such and such.
1-800 pothole.
Exactly. It's like, hey, you go fill it in because it's going to blow my tire because it's so big. So, and once they're notified, they go out there I would say within like a day or so. They try to fit it in. So yeah. So I know they try to do their best here. There's just so many of them though, just because the salt and then again, the coldness. So, but pothole, come spring, you definitely got to swerve a bit.
Yeah, I can imagine. But that's interesting. I'm glad to find out that parts of the city is walkable and bikeable and you can get around. Are there stores that you like? How is the downtown set up? Is it just mostly, corporate skyscrapers, or do you have like a downtown with stores and
We kind of have a little bit of both. So yeah, so there's definitely some down there that are like more the skyscrapers, the bigger buildings, bigger banks, corporate buildings, things like that. What I love that they've been doing is, we used to have old department stores down there like Sibley's or Addison Days, if anyone remembers those, and they're renovating these old buildings into now condos.
Okay.
So they're gorgeous. The inside they have like the original brick. It's very industrial though, so if that's not your thing, they have others that are a little more finished. So they try to make where those are, they're trying to utilize these old buildings with the history in them and keep them there. There are stores, there's, like I said, there's restaurants. The one thing they are lacking a little bit and they're trying to get in there is a grocery store of some sort. There's little marts here and there, but nothing like a full-fledged grocery store where you could just basically walk to. And they've been talking about trying to put something down there for a handful of years, and I believe it's still in the works because they are seeing a lot more revitalization in the city itself, especially downtown.
What's your supermarket chains that you have there? I can't remember.
We have Wegmans, which is big. We have Wegmans, which is big.
Wegmans is one of my favorites.
Yeah, we have Tops here, and then we have Price Chopper. We have Aldi's, Walmart. Obviously, we have some super Walmarts. Our Targets have grocery stores in them now. For not huge, but I know enough.
Right.
So really, in the suburbs, there's so many options. In the city, it's a little bit harder.
A little bit harder, yeah.
Yeah,
because it's more industrial and more corporate.
it is. And they're trying to change it, like I said, a little bit. And every now and again, they'll do open houses down there. So for real estate agents, we get down there, we can see them. They're absolutely gorgeous. I love what they're doing to them, and they look so great. But they're utilizing the original buildings, which is what I love, because I love seeing a home with its historical charm still in it. Original hardwoods or original whatever you can. It just gives it so much character rather than just tearing it down and building something new.
So tell us, speaking of like neighborhoods in the downtown, are there specific neighborhoods you like or recommend if someone was looking to move to Syracuse?
Really, and it depends. So if you want to be in the city, like there's what it's called the Holly Green area. That's like the northeast area of the city. There's a lot more LGBTQ residents there.
Mm-hmm.
Really, any place you go though, because in Syracuse, any of the suburbs, LGBT is really sprinkled throughout.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't have like one specific. Your Holly Green area is probably, I'd say, the most.
Neighborhood.
No, not really. Holly Green is probably like the best, I would say, for that. But other than that, yeah, it's really just throughout.
You recommend any specific neighborhoods that are really nice?
It depends on what you're looking for, truth be told. So when we have people that move here in my job as an agent, obviously we have people that are looking either potentially for schools. I had clients not too long ago, they're moving from downstate. They're looking for different school districts for their children. Depends on if you want to be closer to amenities, if you want more land. So it really just all depends on that aspect. Really what you're looking for is what's more important to you.
Gotcha.
Some people don't want to be near like the hustle and bustle, like the centralized of the suburbs. They want to be away from like the major arteries and want to be a little bit further out. We can do that. But I laugh because I tell everything is within 20 minutes of Syracuse. It really is, because there's so many highways and everything's so designed. It's just,
it's 10, 20 minutes that way. Or
exactly. So I tell them, it takes you 20 minutes. So like everything takes 20 minutes. I said, yeah, it really does. It does take 20 minutes. It just is what it is.
So getting back to the LGBTQ community, do we have community centers?
Yeah, there's a lot here in Syracuse. We have ACR Health and also the Q Center that they do. ACR Health, I've done like a 5K walk for them. They're non-for-profit. They do fundraising. They help with chronic illnesses, including HIV/AIDS. They do like a syringe exchange program. The Q Center is a safe place for LGBTQ teens that potentially have been kicked out of their home. They were trying to partner with the rescue mission here locally to build a facility for kids that have been kicked out of their home because they come out as gay or transgender or bi. We have inclusive medical services here at Upstate that's geared more towards just LGBT healthcare in general. That can be like your PCP for transgender services, medications. We have the Transgender Alliance of CNY here, which is a social and support group for them. We have Q Law, which is an LGBT group for legal issues. They assist with like name change, gender marker changes, employment, birth certificate modifications, things along those lines. The biggest ones we have are CNY Pride. That's a non-for-profit. It's all volunteer. I actually participated in that this past year. Every year they do a Pride Festival here, which is great, at the Inner Harbor, which is right outside the city. What I love about that is it's gotten bigger and bigger over the years. This year I actually had a booth there, and it's just so great to see families with their kids there. And they're not gay, but they're just there to enjoy
They're
it.
allies.
And yeah, exactly. And the company that I work for, Hunt, we actually march in the parade. We're one of the few agencies that do, or brokerages, I should say, that do. So myself and another woman, we had a booth there this year, and we had people come in and said it was so great to see us there, because it's just the visibility.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, we have.
I didn't realize
Sage-
Syracuse was so progressive in that matter.
and that's the thing. It's there. It's just, you just got to look for it. It's
Right.
always there. There's so many support groups and everything here. ACR Health is so great. Them specifically, I worked with them for years. Like I said, we always did like an AIDS walk run every year, and our team would raise money. And there's all sorts of different groups that do that. We have Sage of Upstate. They're not-for-profit. They promote like health and well-being of LGBTQ. Exactly. So there are, for like support groups and things like that, we have a lot. There is a lot of those there.
That's great.
And then we have a lot of things that are more for social. We have Come Out CNY. That's a recent group that just came out that elevates the needs and desires of LGBTQ people. And you can support like, or promote, I should say, at the same time, like inclusive businesses, events, things like that. The one thing that because I only came out like maybe 8 or 9 years ago. So I'm kind of a newbie to the whole thing as well. But what they had here, and they started, which was called like guerrilla gay events. And it was almost like guerrilla warfare type of thing. So what they would do is they would take over a bar like once a month, and they would post on Facebook where this pop-up social event is. So we would infuse that business with all the LGBT in the area that wanted to come socialize, meet new people, friends,
cool.
Things like that. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. You see your regular friends, new friends. They also just started doing one, which is the Guerrilla Gay Cafe. So if you don't want to go out at night, or maybe don't want to drink or be in the bar scene, it's just at a local cafe, and they do those during the day on weekends, which is nice.
That's great too, yeah.
The Facebook page, LGBTQ Syracuse is huge. That's great. That's a local spot for news, events.
I think I found, did I find you there?
That's where you found me. Yep, exactly. Yeah. So they're at about 2,000 members now, which is great. And they're trying to help put together a portfolio of all LGBTQ owned businesses. So that way, if somebody comes to Syracuse or is an ally, they can go to a list of what they want and say, hey, here I know I can go. Yeah, because just the other day I was in the group and I was seeing that somebody was looking for their daughter who is trans, trying to find a place to have their hair done. So they were trying to find a place that would be accepting of it.
Right.
Out Syracuse, New York, outsyracuse.com is another one where they do have, basically it's listing all your owned and family and friendly businesses, again, allies, things like that. Mm-hmm. We also do like our MBT Bake Stadium here for the Syracuse Mets. Every year they do a Pride Day for that, which is nice. So they give out like rainbow jerseys, flags, things like that. So again, everyone comes together on those days in June traditionally. We have the other thing that I personally participate in is it was called the Gay 5K. Now they're changed it to Pride 5K because they want to be, again, more inclusive.
Right.
Because there's so many allies there. And again, I love it because there's so many families that go.
It's great to see that.
They're just allies, and they just go because, they're exposing their kids to it, which is great. I mean, it's life.
It's so important.
So I love seeing that. I love seeing that. So between the Pride Festival and the run, it's absolutely great. And there's just so much to utilize in our community here in Syracuse.
I love it.
It is truly great. It really is.
So it's an inclusive environment. You have community support from allies, and you have your events during the year. It's great. Really, that's what you look for in a city or a place to live. Let's talk a little bit about arts and culture. So I know Syracuse is a large city. So curious, I'm really not familiar at all with any of the cultural scene and theaters, galleries, and stuff like that. You want to give us an idea of what you have?
We got them. So downtown in the city of Syracuse, we have the Everson Museum of Art. You can go there year round. They have different art that they either own or bring in for you to view. What's great that they do is at Christmas time they do what's called the Festival of Trees. So you can go and it's like over a 2-week period, and local businesses, corporations, they decorate their own trees and you can bid on them and buy them. There's always usually an LGBT tree of some sort there. So it's fun. It's a big thing that a lot of people go to look for every single year to do. We have the Landmark Theater here, which is historical. They renovated that not too long ago. That is just absolutely stunning inside. There we get Broadway and Syracuse shows that tour.
Nice.
So we have season tickets to those that we go to. In the past, it's been the big shows. This year, we have Beetlejuice, Les Mis, Mamma Mia. So all the big shows. We have had Hamilton here several times. So it's kind of bringing a little.
You don't have to go to New York City.
I was going to say it's bringing a little Broadway to Syracuse, which is nice. Yeah. And the shows are absolutely great. Syracuse University here has their own drama department. So we have Syracuse Stage, and then adjacent to there is the Storch Theater, which what they do there is Syracuse Stage will run its own plays and musicals, and the Storch Theater next to it helps the drama students get professional experience. So they will put on their own shows. So this past year we went and saw Head Over Heels, which not a lot of people know about. It's a great. It was off Broadway. I loved it. I saw it in New York, and it's all the music of the Go-Go's and Belinda Carlisle.
Oh, wow.
And they did a great job on it. So we also have the On Center here, which they do some shows there. That's more like touring, maybe like a Cirque du Soleil type show. Mm-hmm. They'll do those there. We have the Civic Center. Same type of thing. They'll bring in like the Nutcracker. Sometimes it'll be at Civic Center. Sometimes it'll come to the Landmark. We get comedians here as well at Landmark and Civic Center. We've had Wanda Sykes here. We've had so many.
Do you get concerts there too?
So we do. So yes. So we do get some smaller concerts. I'll say they're more like a niche market, like a Westcott Theater, like the Palace Theater. We get them there. We also have the Empower Amphitheater, which just had Post Malone there. We've had Janet Jackson there, Luke Bryan. We get big people there. We have the Dome, which used to be called the Carrier Dome. That's how some people still know it. We have Pink come in there to a sold-out show of like 60,000. We've had Billy Joel there. We've had Elton John. So we definitely get that.
You get everybody.
We do. The amphitheaters had Tim McGraw too, Dave Matthews Band, and a lot of them come on a regular basis. Regarding plays and musicals, still we have Red House, which is downtown. That's phenomenal. I've been there several times. They do their own thing. We have the Museum of Science and Technology downtown. That's big for kids and adult. I love it. But so it is what it is. I mean, it's just fun.
Do you have like a planetarium?
Inside of there, I believe they do. I haven't been in a while because they do a lot of school trips there because there's just so much stuff to do there. And that changes, inside periodically as well, too. Like for museums and stuff, we have the Erie Canal Museum. We're known as the Salt City. So we have Erie Canal Museum. We have the Historical Association of Onondaga County. Syracuse University has their own art museum. We have the Camillus Erie Canal, where I actually run. It's the original store. It's the actual Erie Canal that they tug the boats on. I'm like, you're running next to it, which is kind of mind-blowing. We have the Greater Syracuse Sports Hall of Fame. There's no shortage of culture or art.
Doesn't sound like you have a shortage at all.
No.
So if you have your culture fix, you can get it. That's awesome.
There's just so much to do. And sometimes there's so many shows. We have CNY Playhouse, which is independent. They do great shows there. Yeah, there's just so much. If you're definitely into theater or musicals, there's no shortage at all whatsoever here for that.
That's cool. I thought, oh, no, you'd have to go to New York or down to the city.
And what's great is if you want to go
to...
Mark, and if you want to go to New York, it's a 5-hour train ride down, and you can make a great weekend of it and be right back. Yep. That's what I love about living. You're so close to everything. Everything is just within a handful of hours away.
Yeah, we used to drive up to Syracuse or even further, an hour further north from the city. So, awesome.
Yeah, awesome. It's great.
All right. Let's talk about dining and restaurants. I'm sure you don't have a shortage of those either. So.
No shortage. So no shortage. Also, the city, what they do in surrounding area, they'll also do food festivals every year. There's several. They do, like this past weekend was Festa Italiana. They do a Greek festival. There's Ukrainian festival. They do a Middle Eastern cultural festival. There's a Macedonian festival. So these are throughout the year, and you get all the different types of foods at all, which is great. People, mainly traditionally, obviously spring through fall, but downtown, there's no shortage of restaurants. We seem to be more heavy in Italian here, which I love. I'm not Italian, but I still love it. We have a restaurant which is one of my personal favorites downtown, which is Pastabilities, or they call it Pastas. That was on Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives. We've had a lot of celebrities go there when they're in town. We've had Chevy Chase go there. Eugene Levy's gone there. Kevin James,
Wow.
Richard Gere was there with his father for his birthday. It's all homemade. It's just phenomenal. I love it personally.
Now I want to come.
I know, it's so good. And Richard Gere was there obviously because he graduated from North Syracuse High School here, so he's got ties to Syracuse, so he comes back periodically. There's downtown, we have Funk and Waffles, which is another restaurant that puts a little spin on the breakfast food, but it's all different types of waffles. They run Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives as well.
Sounds like fun.
It is. It's definitely different. One of the big things that people look for here is dinosaur barbecue, which they now have one, I think, down in New York City. I think maybe Brooklyn, possibly.
Yeah. When we lived in Westchester, there was one there as well.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, if you like bar, it's great. I love it. We have the other place I really like that I was just at recently at the when we did the Pride Festival downtown. It's called the Salt City Market, and it's a building they renovated not too long ago. And there's Middle Eastern food in there. There's Vietnamese. There's Ethiopian. There's Jamaican. There's Thai. There's Cali-Mex. It's all right there for you. And that's all pretty much downtown. That's just downtown. So if you go to the suburbs, my favorite, I got to say, again, Italian, but it's Sant'Angelo's, and it's in Liverpool, New York. It's actually gay owned. The two gentlemen own it. One is a chef. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. They have fried goat cheese, which I didn't think I'd ever, but God, I love it. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So Sant'Angelo's is one of my tops up there. If I got a special occasion, I'm going to Sant'Angelo's usually. I get chicken parm no matter where it is. So I just absolutely love it. It's just amazing. And everyone asks me, is like, what's Syracuse known for? What do you guys have? I'm like, well, we don't have like a dish per se, but when I tell people like we're known for salt potatoes, and they're like, well, what the heck are those?
So I know it's salt potatoes.
Salt potatoes. So yeah, so you got your mini potatoes and you boil them in the water with the salt, and that's just a staple here. Or Hoffman hot dogs. It's a brand.
I don't know what that is.
Hoffman hot dogs, they're made locally. You're now starting to see them in some of the grocery stores like down south. We get them up here. They have a little bit of a snap to them, the casing, and like some people won't eat any other hot dog unless it's a Hoffman.
Snap spicy?
Nope, like the actual casing just has a little bit of a snap to it. It's the actual casing of the hot dog.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it sounds a little weird.
Wonder how good that is for you.
They're absolutely phenomenal. I love them. Like anytime there's a party, it's like, they're like, oh, what do you have? If you know of Hoffman, then it's like, okay, well, it'll do, but it's not the same. But yeah, but we have, in other than just Italian, we do have so many other restaurants downtown. We have steakhouses.
Do you have Michelin starred? Do you know?
I believe yes. There's some downtown that are starred. Yes, we of course obviously in the suburbs have also all your chains. Right. You have your Applebee's, your Longhorns, your, Red Robins. We have all them here too. But downtown, you're seeing more so of all your, privately owned, which I like to support. I mean, not that I don't go to a chain. And that's why I always go to Sant'Angelo's because first of all, I can't talk enough. I just love it. It's so good. It's just phenomenal. But I try to go there because it's locally, first off, it's LGBTQ owned. And not only just for that, it's just phenomenal food. And that's why I like going to Pastabilities downtown too. I like them both. But Sant'Angelo's is just, if I don't want to go in the city, I go to the suburbs. I go out there.
So those two establishments, so they'll have to overnight me some of that food.
Or next time you visit, let me know. I'll take you. We'll go because it's so good.
That's
it's so good. Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
We have to get back there soon. So.
Yeah. And we obviously have, in the burbs, we do have Greek restaurants, which I tried myself not too long ago, which shockingly I really loved. It was so good.
Mediterranean.
Yeah, Greek was so good. We have some Thai places. You have some Japanese hibachi places in the suburbs, which are really good. So yeah, if you're a foodie at all, we probably got it.
There's no shortage.
There's no shortage there either. We got it. We're kind of like
That's
the hidden
great.
Syracuse is kind of like the hidden gem.
And
I
gem.
think it's overlooked for a lot of people because they don't like the snow.
Oh, yeah. Well, what do people do in the winter when they don't go out? They go out to
I'm
eat.
eating.
All right, we're going out to eat. What else is there to do? Go to a movie. Do you have
Yeah.
you have movie theaters too? I'm sure.
Yep. We have one in the mall here in Destiny. We have in here in Camillus
Oh, you
down the
have
road
that
from me.
huge mall. What's that
Yep. We have
mall?
Destiny USA. Yep.
Is that what it's called? I thought it
Yep.
was called something else.
It used to be
Destiny?
called Carousel Center way
That was
back
it.
when. And
That
then they
was it.
renamed it. They did an addition, then they renamed it to Destiny USA.
Okay.
So
I've
there we
been
have
there
theater.
once. Yeah.
And then we also have Movie Tavern, which is one of those where you can order food and you get a nice leather recliner.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah, I'm all about that. So
Yeah.
that's where I
Yeah.
go. As long as I don't doze off during the movie, I'm good. So
That's my problem. That's my problem. I can't go to a movie after 5 p.m. I got to go
it's a
matinees.
cutoff.
Same thing.
Yep.
Same thing with theater. It's like no. Mm-mm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I once paid for Les Mis on Broadway, and we went out to dinner on a Friday night after work, full day of work. Had a pasta meal. I
Oh,
sat down in the seat, and I was fighting my eyes to be
yeah.
open. I was like, "Oh, I need toothpicks for my eyes," and I was just fighting it. And then I said, "I can't do it. The hell with it." And I
Yep.
fell asleep. The next thing I know, standing ovation. I'm looking around. I was like, no wonder why they call this Les Miserables.
and I have never seen it, and that's our first show in this. And some people said you might really like it, and we'll see. And that's one reason why I actually ended up starting doing, my partner I did season tickets, because I would just pick and choose. And I'm like, no, this is going to force me to go to things that I may not like. And shockingly, some of them I really
You like
loved,
them.
and I never thought I would. So I'm kind of
Right.
glad I do the season tickets. It's just
Yeah, that's
easier,
good too. Yeah.
Yep.
We have done that here too. We could walk to our theater. It's like 2 blocks away.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's nice and nice getting theater tickets because you're forced into it. It's like, all right, we're going to
Yep.
see this no matter
Yep.
what. So,
Exactly.
okay. What about, are we crime and safety? How's the crime situation in Syracuse?
So, per the U.S. News and World Report, they have Syracuse like as a 7.5 out of 10 for safety. I personally have never felt at risk or anything like that ever in all the years I've ever lived here. There was several articles that came out, in 2024, violent crimes is down. It's on a downward trend. Incidents involving shootings are down 56%. It really, any event, I don't care whether it's an LGBTQ event, if it's a regular event, we do what's called Taste of Syracuse downtown, where all sorts of vendors get together and you can taste all different. There's always so much police presence. I've never really ever had an issue no matter where I've gone. I wouldn't say it's any more or less than probably anywhere else, but I've never felt unsafe ever.
You feel safe if you had to go out and walk your dog at 2 a.m?
Yeah, I wouldn't have an issue. No, I wouldn't have an issue with that at all. And depending if you live in the suburbs, like I live in Camillus, so Camillus actually has their own police. So they patrol the neighborhoods just regularly. Other areas and other suburbs also have their own, in addition to just the regular city or state. But no, I've never run into an issue. My mom lives in Syracuse. I'm only about maybe 10 minutes from her, so I'm just a little bit further from her. We would be out till 1, 2 in the morning. We never had any issues.
That's
Or
good.
we'd be downtown. Yeah, I mean, again, clearly things are going to happen where they're going to happen regardless.
Right.
But I don't personally see it being any form of an issue any more than the norm, I'm going to say. Every now and again, there's a bar fight, of course, there's going to be.
Do you think the crime is below the national average in Syracuse? Or about the same?
I would say it's either about the same or maybe a little less, just because,
Okay.
when we watch the news, I don't see it nearly as much. You don't hear about it as much. And that's why I said, there's a couple years ago, that someone had made a threat. They were at Destiny, the mall. So when the Pride Festival starts, or the parade, it's over in the Inner Harbor, which is right down the road from there. And somebody was threatening to do a bomb of something. I'm like, you know what? I'm not worried.
Right.
I'm not worried. There was so much police presence, which is just the norm anyways. It wasn't any more or any less, but they took it seriously. They found the person. I'm like, I'm going.
Yep.
I'm not going to let something like that stop me from celebrating who I am and attending a parade and marching in it. So yeah, so I'm like, it's not going to happen.
Kudos.
So yeah, so no, I think we're pretty good here. I never really hear of any issues. Like I said, no.
Well, maybe we'll move to Syracuse.
There you go. And we're going to go to Sant'Angelo's if you can.
Absolutely. Oh, it sounds like it really, I've been there and I have my, in-laws live there and, our relatives live there, but never really got to know the community. I was only there a short period of time. So relatively safe. And what else about the city makes it special to you?
The cities, what I like about it is when I have other people that visit here from other areas, bigger cities, Syracuse is decent size, but there's never really an issue getting in and out of it. It's never, I used to work downtown in the city,
No
during
traffic.
my turn stays. There's traffic, but it's not like crazy. It's not like you're in traffic for hours or anything like that. So it's, even when we go to our Broadway shows in Syracuse at Landmark, there's clearly you have thousands of people leaving or something, but it's still, you're in traffic maybe 10 minutes.
Right.
Sometimes you can even avoid it entirely. So I like that aspect of it. Sometimes it can be a little tricky because you're street parking, so it can be a little bit harder to find spots. There are some parking garages down there, so you may have to walk a couple of blocks, which is not the worst thing, to a restaurant or something, which I almost prefer doing because that way you're not right next to it.
How about parking in the winter?
Parking in the winter, so you can still park on the road. So they do clear it enough where you can try to park on the road. They do the odd even. So you can only really park then on one side because then obviously the plows got to get through. So during the summer times, you can do both. And then some areas, so after I think it's like 6 o'clock, then you have to pay for parking on the road, or it could be 5. I'm trying to remember which one it is. But you can do free parking on the road. Or some of the lots are free then too. Otherwise, all the hospitals obviously clearly have street parking there, but they also have their own parking garages that you can go into, which is it's just easier. And just the area, just in general, like we talked about, is just so close to everything. You're 2.5 hours to Canada, to Niagara Falls. You're 4.5 or 5 to New York City. You're 5 hours to Boston. You're a couple of hours to the Adirondacks if you want to go hiking. There's just so much out there. If you're a woodsy person, if you're not, if you're a winter person, there's plenty. If you're not, there's still stuff to do. And it's just all around. It really has, I think, a little bit of everything for everyone. And I think when I talk to people, their biggest thing is, the snow. I said, okay, let's take the snow out of the equation. Is there something else you don't like? They're like, no, it's just the snow and the cold. I'm like, okay, I get it. I do.
No place is perfect.
I know. And I get it. And when I start talking to people, just as we are now, I just don't think people realize how much Syracuse really does have to offer. And I think it's mind blown to them. And that's why I love getting buyers from out of state, because I educate them. I said, yeah, you got this. And like, really? I'm like, yeah, you got this here and you can go here. They love it,
Yeah, it does have a lot. It seems like it does have a lot to offer, considering, that you have to look at every perspective of what a city offers, as far as retirement or just living there. So no place is perfect. So you guys are cold. You might have snow, but you know what? Here in Phoenix, we bake in the summer. Yeah. It's hot. It's not a pretty thing, you stay in your house. So I equate it to like the Northeast when we lived in New York City. You don't really go out much in the winter. You go to restaurants and you do what you have to do indoors, So pretty much the same.
And the one thing I do like is Syracuse does kind of pivot to the winter. So you don't have to be a big outdoorsy person to enjoy even some of the winter things like Beaver Lake, which is in Baldwinsville area. It's all trails and stuff. Now you can go, there's like a lake loop. It takes like an hour to walk around. But during the winter, you can cross country ski the trails. You can snowshoe the trails. You can just enjoy. You can rent them there. They have little things that are just enjoyable. Downtown, they do an ice skating rink. You can ice skate right there where they do the Christmas tree every year.
That's nice.
There's just all these little things that you can still do. We have lights on the lake here. So Onondaga Lake, you can just drive through and it's miles of Christmas lights.
That's nice.
So you don't have to even leave your warm car if you don't want to. Right. You can enjoy it. So yeah, we just got so much here. And again, I say it again, I'll say it again. I love that we're just so close to everything. Everything is always about 20 minutes from your house. And if you want to travel somewhere and get out and go to New York, have at it. You can do it very easily.
Now, how long have you lived there all your life?
I lived here all my life. Yeah.
And do you think you'll retire there?
I probably will, yeah. I love to travel, but home is always home.
Yeah.
And I've even thought about selling my house here in Camillus where I'm at, but I'm like, I have so much. I mean, it's like a 5-minute drive to my gym. It is 3 minutes down the road to my Costco or movie theater.
What more do you want? You have everything.
I have a Home Depot down the road. I have a Lowe's up the road. I have a Target 5 minutes from me. I have a Wegmans grocery store. I have an Aldi at the end of my hill. I'm like, where am I going? I know the highway is so close, and I'm very close to the state fairgrounds. So we have the New York State Fair every year, which just ended. That ends on Labor Day. That's huge, and I'm only maybe 15 minutes from there.
So why would you want to?
That's the thing. It's like, where am I gonna go? I am so centrally located to everything. It's like I've said that so many times, like, geez, I'd love more room in my house, but I'm like, where am I gonna go? The location's perfect for me. And but no matter what suburb you're at, the highway's always close to you. There's always stores around you. The city's usually, again, 15, 20 minutes away. It's so funny because you just always say it, but when you get here, it's true. You're like, everything's about 20 minutes.
Everything is 20 minutes away.
So it's just so funny because that's what everyone jokes about. Oh, it's 20 minutes. Yeah, it really is. It's 20 minutes.
That's great.
So yeah.
That's great.
No, it's a great place.
Why move somewhere else that, you have to do other things and it's so comfy and homey. You know what I'm saying? So
I figure when I retire, I can just retire. I can just vacation to warmer spots.
Yeah.
And that's what I do now with real estate. Clearly, our summertime is our busiest. We sell clearly year round, but you have a little more downtime in the winter months because not as many people are still selling or buying.
Yeah.
Hey, I go on a cruise, go vacation, go see some friends.
Yeah, I'm retiring.
I'm not hating it. It's fine.
I'm retiring in a week. So
congrats!
Thank you.
Congrats.
So in the summer, summer is just about over. For Phoenix, summer lasts until probably October. But yeah, it's still in the 90s in September. So going forward next summer or the summer, going forward, we plan on just traveling someplace a little bit cooler, probably to Syracuse.
Yeah. Come on up. We're starting our apple picking. Our hay rides are starting. The leaves are changing.
I miss the apple picking because we used to, like living in the city, we used to go either northern New Jersey or a little bit upstate New York to these little farms and, we'd do apple picking or they were already picked. We would just pick them.
You can do that too.
Yeah.
Some of the best cider donuts. Oh my God.
Cider donuts?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
Cider donuts. Yeah, we go to a place in Weedsport. It's called Owen's Orchards here. We've been going there for probably 20 years. The best cider donuts, my God. And they come out warm. Oh, for the love of God. They're so good.
They soak them in cider?
Nope. It's actually, the dough is made with apple cider. So it's infused in it. Yeah. It's really good.
Sounds a little dangerous to me.
They are so good. And, and then in the winter, like you can even, I don't know if you've ever done, you can cut your own Christmas tree down. So there's tree farms here you can go.
City boys never do that.
My mom and I did that for years, and we made a tradition of it. It was one of our things. A Saturday we would drive out.
You chop it down yourself?
Yep. Get on my hands and knees, chop it off, and then they tag it and they'll bundle it for you and put on the top of your car for you. Yep. So many families do that.
Like
it's a
they
tradition.
give you an axe?
You can. Nope. They give you like a bandsaw.
Oh.
You can do that. I actually bought this thing that looks like a chain for a chainsaw, except it's got handles on the end, so you just go back and forth and it cuts right through. We did that probably for 10 years. My mom's like, I'm done with the real trees now. So we went to artificial. But she loved it. She looked forward to it. It was like our tradition. That was a thing. So we went out and the trees always look much larger or much smaller. I think when you get them in the house because you bring them home, like, I'm gonna have to cut about a foot of this off because it's way too big.
It's not gonna fit.
Because it didn't look quite as big on the farm, but yeah. But apple picking, we'll be doing that another weekend or so. And I'm just so excited.
I like the seasons. I miss the seasons.
One of my friends just moved back from Florida. This is his first fall in like 15 years. He's like, I am loving every minute of it. So, we're away from New York 10 years. So we moved to Florida first.
and we're here 6 years for the 4 years there. So we really haven't had fall, winter
Yeah.
in 10 years. So
Yeah.
I know I kind of miss, not that I really miss the winter and the snow. I really don't, because I always said, just show me a picture on Facebook and I'm good. But I do miss the fall.
You don't get the feel.
Yeah, I don't get when it's 80 degrees and it's Christmas time, it's like, it's not snowing. Where's the snow?
That's how it is like for me here, though. When we have the warmer winters, to me, it just doesn't feel like Christmas at the time. I have my
Right.
lights on, I got the tree up, but it
Right.
just doesn't you're missing that feel.
It's like here.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I went running the other day at the Erie Canal down the road for me, and like it was a warm day, and the leaves are starting. And you like every now and again you got the smell. Oh, I was like, this is it. This is what it's on.
The
Like
leaves
I was loving
changing.
it. Yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And yours changes before this city, so before New York City.
Adirondacks will probably start changing very soon. Another probably week or two. They'll start, and then it moves towards us. So yeah. And they're saying this year we are the place to be for foliage, and rather than New England, which there was just an article on that.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay,
all right.
I'm all for it.
Take pictures.
Me up. Sign me up. I'll be posting them on Facebook without a doubt.
I'll be taking a look at that for sure. So in wrapping up, what advice would you give someone considering retirement in Syracuse? And what key factors make Syracuse a great place for the retirees, especially for those in the LGBTQ community?
I would say that initially, I think people need to at least visit, and I would say visit different times of the year, not just maybe. So if it's a place you're actually looking to retire
I would come in the winter.
Yeah, I would say, if you're not really necessarily a winter person, I would say probably try come during the winter time and just to see what it's like, see what Syracuse has to offer, and if we have things here that you would love to do during that time frame, and if it's, would work for you. I have some people that aren't huge fans of summer, believe it or not, and they're like, geez, no, I'm all about having the 4 seasons. I think you definitely got to come and at least visit, stay for maybe a week if you could, tour around, see what we really have to offer, and try to settle in a little bit and poke around a little bit here and there and see what's available. Because I think when people start, they're really going to see, wow, there really is a ton here. And again, like as we mentioned, I think it's kind of mind blowing to a lot of people. Like I said, my buyers more so, they're like, geez, I never realized this. Yeah, it's here. You just got to find it.
You have to find it.
Exactly. And I even have friends, they're like, oh, geez, there's nothing to do. I'm like, are you kidding me? There's this festival this weekend. You can go here, you can go there. There's so much going on. Yeah, so absolutely, check it out. Don't go on someone else's opinion, because clearly what they like and don't like could be opposite from what you like. Absolutely. We just have, and again, not to repeat myself again, but there's just so much, and it's really an all-inclusive, well-rounded city that really offers, I think, a lot for a lot of different people for different things. Like I said, during the summers, if you're a car person, they do car shows here. The nationals are here at the fairgrounds. People come from across the country for that's huge here. If you're more into like nature, like I said, we have several state parks you can camp at that are close to us. We have Green Lakes, that is a man-made lake that you can walk through, or there's a beach you can stay on. We have Chittenango Falls, which is gorgeous in the fall. Again, Adirondacks aren't far from us. So
New York State's just beautiful.
It is. There is just so much here. And I'm like, how could I move? It's like, what else would someone else give me that I don't have here that I'm missing? Because personally, I don't really feel like I'm missing anything.
Right. Yeah. There's no reason.
People are like, well, geez, there's no subway or nothing. Well, I don't know if Syracuse really needs to utilize a subway per se, but, we don't have stuff like that. But I think we got a lot of little things from big cities, bigger city, and it's all here for you. Like I said, we get the Broadway shows that travel here. We don't have to go in if we don't want to.
I wish you had underground walking. So in the winter.
That we don't have. Yeah, that we don't have. Especially downtown again, when you're walking in the winter, clearly. Because when I worked down there, it's windy, clearly, because it's going whipping right through the building. So
New York City is like that too. It can get really windy and nasty and bitter cold.
Yeah. But yeah, I think especially any retirees, especially the LGBT, there's just so much here. You're retiring. If you're a big volunteer, there's so many groups you could volunteer at that would love the support or help, that you could get involved in, even if it's just once a year or if it's every year, or one event or several events. There's just no lack of of something to do in regards to volunteering as well. It doesn't even have to be anything in the LGBTQ if you don't want it to be. There's so
Right.
much
Could
more
be
out there
anything.
going that they utilize. I try to personally find things that are more LGBTQ just because of who I am, and I've seen some of it firsthand. I've seen, friends have problems with their families. I've seen it, so I know it exists, and I tell people like, "Oh, that doesn't happen." I go, "No, it does." And if you don't think it does, then you're missing the mark, because it really does happen.
Right.
Whether you want to believe it or not, it is a thing. So yeah, there's just so much here that I would love to hear what someone is looking for that we don't have.
Right. That's a good comment.
And if they only say snow, then I don't want to hear it, because that's the only thing.
Right. So how do you see Syracuse evolving over the next decade? What would be the biggest draw for new residents?
So it's been national news. We're getting Micron here, which is going to be it's a semiconductor plant in Clay.
They make chips.
That's coming. Yeah, that's going to be huge here. They're trying to figure out what the housing issue is going to be regarding this. So they're trying to start building and things like that, because Syracuse isn't maybe like in Arizona, where we build a whole entire, street at once. We don't do that here. We build house by house.
Houses.
Yeah, so we don't build neighborhoods at one time, we build houses. So they're trying to figure that out. I definitely see it's nice to really see parts of the city that are being revitalized. Like I said, they're renovating buildings for condos and things like for people and for affordable housing. I love seeing that. I think Syracuse is definitely becoming, and I think it's getting on a lot more people's maps now. Whereas before it was like, Syracuse, yeah. Again, snow. That's all you ever hear is snow.
Right,
snow. There's so much more to us than just snow. But yeah, that's all you hear. So I definitely see it's going in the right direction. Definitely going in the right direction. I think COVID hit a lot of people. Clearly, a lot of small businesses shut down, unfortunately, just because. We do still have a few LGBT bars here. We had a couple that did close that I used to go to that was great. But again, there's just no shortage of places to go though either. So I think while some went down, and closed, there were new ones that were coming up. And it's nice to see Syracuse evolving, and that they are doing some things that's supporting the community. Just in general, not even just LGBTQ, but just
in general. That's great.
Yeah.
You mentioned condos. Do they have a condo community? Are there many condos?
There's not a lot here. We don't have a lot of them. We have a condo unit that's actually in East Syracuse as well that has an HOA attached to it, because it has grounds to it and everything else, so grass and things like that. Downtown, you do pay HOA, but it's more for the security at the door, the taxes, your trash, things like that.
Right.
But we don't have a lot of them. That's one thing Syracuse doesn't have a ton of, are condos.
It's mostly single family homes.
It's mostly single family homes. We do have a lot of townhouses that do have HOAs, but you're also getting a community pool with it. You're getting a gym, things like the clubhouse type of a thing. Exactly. We do have a couple 55 and older communities, but they are more single family homes though. But they, you pay the and they do everything for you. So while you're still utilizing, so you're still utilizing one level living, like a patio home, but you're not having to do everything with it. So some of those are a year or two wait to get into. Yeah, because just for that reason, there's not enough of them. But yeah.
So where could our audience find you if they were looking to purchase, a home in Syracuse?
Yep, they can. I have a website through Hunt, which is where I currently work. I don't have it offhand, so how bad is that? My email, they can always email me. Do you want me to just go ahead and give the email, or?
Yeah, you can give the email if you have it.
Yep. So my email is Scott, SCOT, .Hier, HIER, @huntrealestate.com. You can find my business page, Scott Hier, through Hunt Real Estate. I have a business page. I'm on Instagram and I'm on LinkedIn as well. I welcome anyone with questions or anything. More than happy to help them out.
Yeah, I could put that in the show notes so people could contact you. And
absolutely. I can give my cell number out too if you'd like. I have that as well.
Yeah, we can put that in the show notes if you'd like.
Okay. Yep, sure. Yeah, I welcome anyone with questions or anything about what we offer, any questions that we have, or maybe something that they don't know if we have. If I don't know, I'll definitely find them an answer.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, you've been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark, for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you for all of your insight and on the Syracuse area. And yeah, thanks again. And we'll see you on the next one.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Where Do Gays Retire podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to our podcast and consider making a donation by clicking the coffee cup on any page at www.wheredogaysretire.com. Each cup of coffee that you buy costs $5 and goes towards helping us continue the podcast. Thank you for your continued support.